Governor Scott Walker sent a letter to federal officials after announcing yesterday he doesn't want any more Syrian refugees resettled in Wisconsin in the wake of the Paris attacks. The letter says, in part, our state will not facilitate the coordination or provision of benefits or services for individuals whose presence could pose a potential risk to our people. Under federal law, the governor does not have the right to keep refugees out of Wisconsin. And Speaker Paul Ryan is joining the call for the U.S. to halt its Syrian refugee resettlement program.
But a local immigration expert says that would set a dangerous precedent that is hardly foolproof. Capitol Bureau Chief Greg Newman joins us with more on that in this developing story.
While it's clear governors can't stop the refugee resettlement, Congress potentially could, and Paul Ryan wants to see that happen. After hearing the calls from Republican presidential candidates and members of his own caucus, Speaker Paul Ryan broke his silence on the Syrian refugee issue Tuesday morning.
Our nation has always been welcoming, but we cannot let terrorists take advantage of our compassion. This is a moment where it's better to be safe than to be sorry.
Speaker Ryan then joined Governor Walker and others in calling for the U.S. to rethink Syrian refugee resettlement.
So we think the prudent, the responsible things take a pause in this particular aspect of this refugee program in order to verify that terrorists are not trying to infiltrate the refugee population.
The bigger picture is that these are people fleeing for their lives, right? They're fleeing the burning building.
Attorney Stacey Tiber is the director of the Immigrant Justice Clinic at UW-Madison. While she disagrees with Speaker Ryan and others from a moral perspective, she says their plan also has a lot of holes.
Our clinic has a client from Syria, and I know several other nonprofit agencies locally who are representing Syrian asylum seekers.
Tiber says Syrians are and could still get into the U.S. through other means.
Syrians who are in the country who've come in other ways on tourist visas or student visas, whatever it is, who can then also say, I'm afraid to go back. And they can apply for asylum, which is essentially seeking refugee status from within the United States.
It's unclear if Speaker Ryan and his colleagues will address that issue as well.
The majority leader and our committee chairs are developing a plan to address the Syrian refugee crisis.
On the issue of not resettling Syrian refugees in Wisconsin, Tiber says even if the federal government agrees, once resettled, refugees have the right to move freely throughout the country.